start. Okay. Hi guys. Okay, welcome to, I think this is Summer Launch Call 3. We're like halfway there. Let me share my screen. So today is all about presenting and following up. So we've gone through how important it is to prepare our 100s list, doing our schedule so that when we are ready to invite, we have everything prepared, right? Last week we were doing connecting and inviting, and how hard is it to connect, right? Like generally connect, like finding a common something that you could relate to, right? Especially if you haven't spoke to someone in like 5-10 years, even a year. Like, what are you going to say, right? So you have to look through their social media, think about maybe the last time you guys had an interaction that you can follow up on, and build that genuine connection without even mentioning oils. It's just like a human friendly, connection. So by today, you would have connected to about 30 to 40 people and this is our goals are very similar, where you want to bring 3,000 PV which is about an elite additional to your current organization, your current business, your current leg. And so with that, about 30 to 40 per week of new connections is where you'll be at, and you want to follow along so that you're on track with your goals. Okay. So I like this quote a lot. I saw it somewhere. Every next level of your life will demand a different you, right? So we can't really do the same thing over and over and expect that we're going to get a result that we want, right? Somebody who wants to earn $10,000 extra a year has to do something different. So they get promoted and they have that value. Someone who wants to live a different lifestyle, maybe they want to stay home, they want to travel more, they're going to have to do a totally different thing, right? To get that result. So for us, in terms of launch, we're trying to get in 3,000 PV into our organization. So what we didn't do last month, we have to do differently, right, this month. Something different to bring in 3,000 additional. So what we're doing is doing things, we're upping it, right? 30 to 40 new contacts this week, inviting to every class that we can, and getting people there to really bring that in. So the presenting agenda today is your blocks in presenting. Presenting could be in person, on a phone call. Okay. Tyra wants to say hi. You say hi?
Hi.
Okay, good job. Your blocks in You're shy? Okay, then you can listen. So what is your blocks, your personal blocks in presenting? Some may not be presenting in-person classes yet, maybe doing a lot of one-on-ones. Maybe some people are more comfortable with classes. Hi, Strider. Hi, Strider. What is your personal blocks? Or do we have all very common blocks? That's Strider. Very common blocks. I know some of your blocks, but feel free to share. We're just an open space. And we're trying to overcome our blocks too, right, together. Oh, here you go, my love. Okay, you want to cuddle? Okay. All right. Anybody willing to share what their personal blocks? Who hasn't taught a class yet? Who hasn't done a one-on-one yet? You want to be like a baby? You can chat it in or just unmute yourself.
I'll watch.
You want to watch?
Mm-hmm.
I'll share a blog. So I'll share what we've discovered, or what Giselle discovered of myself that I do. So I like connecting with people who already connect to me about oils. So it's easier to talk to them about oils to begin with, and I get all excited about it. But I was having trouble just starting conversations with people I already knew that I never talked to oils with them, because I would think about how I should talk to them about it, how I should approach them about it. I was overthinking what I'm going to say because I didn't want to come off so weird. I don't know. that was my block that I had to kind of overcome, is starting conversations with people not about oils.
Mm-hmm.
So my comfort is talking about oils because that's like the whole big picture. But the discomfort, the block, was finding the connection besides oils. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we all have different blocks, right? I mean, the first time, I mean, maybe Mary has a more like fresh experience in this. You're like, how am I going to talk about oils, right? Like, how am I going to connect? This is something so new to me. And even something like Mary reached out to me like last month. She's like, how do I like post that on my Instagram stories? It's going to feel so odd. Like, it's just like, bam, oils, right? Like, how do I bring it in, right? So we have all those blocks. Like, what are people going to think about us? Okay, and it's the same thing with connecting privately, right? Like you like it was funny because the task of connecting to 30 to 40 people was just to say hi. It wasn't even about to bring about oils. It was generally to say hi to someone, whether it's in person, right? Whether it's through a text. You probably won't have that person's text unless you have it already, but like social media, she was just a genuine hi, and maybe commenting on something cool that you see or about them, because that's really important, right? Nobody typically, unless you're ready for oils, you're just like looking for oils. Typically, if I approach Anahea, who had no clue about oils, and I was like, hey Anahea, do you want to take a class? And you're like, what? I haven't heard from you in like 2 years. And that's the first thing you want to ask me. But I could say, oh my gosh, Anahea, I just came across your Instagram. I didn't know you have a baby now. Like, oh my gosh, what's his name? Just that's it. That's a connection, right? But sometimes it feels weird, right? Because I don't know. It's just something we're not used to, But with network marketing, it's something that we have to do, because we don't have a storefront. We're not inside an office space waiting for customers. We're actually bringing in customers in the comfort of our job on the side, right? Maybe like in your break time, you're connecting to people, or you're at your house, So yeah. And then so some of the blocks of presenting is, from what I was hearing, was from mentor calls, is I don't know enough to present. I don't know if I have enough information to be able to present about oils, right? But what are the benefits of presenting, right? Versus, hey, do you want to buy a starter kit because you're going to love this kit? Versus, let me talk about how these oils can benefit you and see if that's something you want to try, right? So the benefits of presenting is huge. So education first versus purchasing first. When you present about the oils, one of the common things that you might come across is, well, how much is this is going to cost me? How much is the starter kit? How much is this, right? But if I were to tell you, Mary, the starter kit to change your lifestyle, like for the more natural solutions, is going to be $550. You're going to be like, that's way too much, right? That's a natural solutions kit. However, if you are already in that mindset of, I do want to change my lifestyle, I don't know where, and then you take a class, I explain about all the different products, all the ways you can use the oils, that $550 starts to be like, okay, that's actually doable. I'm going to get household cleaning products. I'm going to get my supplements. I'm going to get a diffuser. I'm going to get, and then you're like, oh, that's a great deal, So that's why I say education first, or whether it's a one-on-one, in person, a class, invitation, because when they say, I just want something for sleep, and you tell them, well, the starter kit is $275 for Home Essentials that has a diffuser, they're going to be like, what? But when they take a class, they're going to listen to you do a one-on-one on the phone or in person. They're going to start, wait, I get stomach issues sometimes. Yeah, that digestion is probably going to benefit me one day. Oh yeah. I always I get sick a lot, because I'm always around kids. I think I need that oil. Want more? So that's why it's important. Okay, I will do it. Okay. So education versus purchasing. While I get her more apple juice, I will. I'm going to share with you the agenda for a class and a one-on-one. Okay, my love, just a moment. Let me share the screen so that they
More
can see.
application. More application.
Okay.
More application.
Okay, hold on, my love. Okay, can you guys see this? Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna leave this up and give me like 1 minute and I'll come back. Okay, come on. You wanna watch this now? Okay, no? Okay. Okay. So for the one-on-one agenda, this is sure. If this is for a phone call, this is in person. Okay, you want to be like a baby? I got this this agenda. So a lot of people are like, well, what do I say during a one-on-one or when I talk to someone in person? Like, am I missing something out? What is the most effective way to do for them to understand essential oils, like have them purchase and all that, right? So this is what you want to follow pretty much. I got this from the Skill Up. If you have Facebook, there is a private group for our team that has a bunch of amazing information for anyone doing the business, whether it's a sharer or a builder. So this is from Skill Up. Let me see. So what you want to make sure is you always have your personal, connecting with your personal story. So this one is really quick. It's just kind of how people can relate to you. It's about like 1 to 2 minutes of just a few sentences. What you want to talk about is pretty much where is it? Let me make sure I read it. Where is it? Yeah, so you want to make sure that you just talk about why, what made you start using essential oils, right? When you started using it. So maybe you're like, oh, I got introduced to it because of this. I wanted something for my stress. Somebody told me about it, whatever your story may be. What was your hesitation, right? What is your skepticism when somebody told you about essential oils? Because we all had it at the beginning, right? People want to know that because they're not going to be like, oh, you always believed in oils, because everyone is like, I don't know if this is going to work. So they want to hear that. But then they also want to hear what made you decide that this works. What was that one product you're like, this works and I want this in my home and I want to try more, right? It could be like I had a terrible headache. Somebody gave me this oil blend. I mean, I wasn't sure it was going to work, but you know what? I didn't have Advil. I'm just going to give it a try. And it actually worked. I was so impressed. Like, I didn't have to use Advil. It was crazy, right? So then I brought it into my life, right? So that's what people want to hear. Also, if your organization's a little bit bigger too, maybe a little bit of like your direction, your vision of like what you want to do with your business in terms of like who you want to help, who you're really targeting. And then also maybe I like to kind of say a little bit about the business of why I'm doing the business. You can share that, but the most important is for your personal story is just those 3 things, and that's it. So it's really, really simple. There's a little worksheet on Skill Up and Pre-Elite. If you've ever done Pre-Elite, it's a training. It really breaks down like to the point of your story, so you don't feel like you're dragging it, right? You want to share the agenda. People want to know what they're in for, right? Like, I don't know what they're going to talk about, so they can kind of follow along. They don't feel like, how long is this going to take? They kind of have an idea. Okay, that's actually all the stuff I want to know. So okay, we're on the same page about the agenda, right? You want to gather information. So gathering information is really all about asking why they want essential oils, or what problem do they have. That's pretty much it. What kind of solution they're looking for? What is their problem? What is their goal? I do want to read really quickly. Gathering information. So I'm going to read this. This is from the Pre-Elite. Some people may have heard this already if you've done Pre-Elite with me. So learning to ask questions and listen intently is the most important skill you can develop as a business professional and as a future leader. Okay. Oh, okay, go ahead. Okay. Hold on. So during your one-on-one, ask your customer to share their health concerns. Start with having them share what they don't want to experience anymore in their life. I don't want to feel tired anymore. I'm always fatigued. I don't want to feel like I'm always sick. I don't want to feel like I'm always in a bad mood. You know, I feel like I'm always depressed. Whatever it is, right? And then help them identify what is it they do want to experience more. I just want to feel more energized. I want to feel good. Like I don't want to feel depressed anymore. I want to feel more positive, right? I want to feel healthy. I hate getting a cold, a cough, or whatever it is, right? Or a flu, or my allergies is always flaring up. Finally, ask them to share why these changes are important to them. So that's super important because it's kind of a self-reflection on them, on like why they want this. And so these questions are key to helping them realize what they do want to change. And your job from that moment forward is to connect them to how the oils can provide the hope of change to their experience. So all the information they share in this 5-minute conversation will give you what you need to know to be able to cater the teaching section to meet their specific needs. And teaching section can also be like just your one-on-one in general. That makes sense. Is that helpful? One of the things I do really, really want to highlight is spending a little bit more time on their on why they want essential oils. And I'm going to share this screen with you. This is the script for a one-on-one. Where is it? Okay, reviewing their goals. What's really important on here is you always ask what else after they say, I want to feel more energized. And you say, what else? I want to feel like when I wake up, I'm not tired. I want to feel like I've slept well. What else? The reason why what else is better than saying anything else, and I think I practiced this with some of you guys already, is when you say anything else, you're always going to probably say, no, that's it. Right? But something with what else is very powerful because they're going to be like, oh, she wants more information. Okay, let me think. Right? The reason why you want to know as much information as possible with what's important to them is because you can recommend the best way to start with oils. And most likely, if you can figure out at least 3 health issues and goals, you can tie them to a starter kit that's really going to save them money and really fully experience the oils. So I wanted to share that. I will email the scripts out to you guys if you don't have it already. But I think that's the biggest one, is the what else versus like anything else. It's just crazy how that wording is so simple, but so effective. Okay. Okay, the next one is introduce the company. So you just want to talk a little bit about why doTERRA. You know, we're the best, the #1 social company in the world. Why? You want to talk about it. Number 5 is teaching them about the oils. So you'll find this in Ashley's classes, you'll find it in my classes, you'll find it in doTERRA's PowerPoints, you'll find it mostly in their handouts. If you have Class in the Box, in their Natural Solutions handouts, they're going to talk about the top 10 oils. And the reason why that's important is because those are the most versatile oils. And if you have these 10 oils, it will replace your medicine cabinet. And for anyone, mostly if you're into natural solutions, you want to kind of replace your medicine cabinet anyway, right? And so you always want to stick to top 10 oils. One thing you want to be a stronger, I don't want to say seller, but stronger way to connect with the person you're talking to or your class is that you want to talk about story selling. So have you guys heard of that, right? Story selling versus fact selling. So I'm going to give you an example. Lavender. Okay, lavender is a calming oil. It's a plant. It smells really calming. You want to use this when you want to calm down. So it's very, very scientific, right? But if I were to say lavender, you want to grab lavender if you have a tough time sleeping. I grab lavender when and I put in my diffuser, a few drops in my diffuser, I get such a good night's sleep. I wake up feeling so well rested. I told you a personal story of how lavender works for me. If I only tell you the facts of lavender is a calming oil, it doesn't really sell it, you know? And so you want to say something with, like, for example, peppermint. Peppermint smells really good. It's an uplifting blend. Yeah, it's an uplifting, it's a cooling blend. Whatever, like doTERRA, it like makes it very scientific. So if you go to doTERRA website and you read it off, it's very fact based, right? But if I were to say, Mary, I went on a road trip this weekend, and I know you always go on road trips. I was like, my partner was almost falling asleep. I made him taste peppermint oil and put it under his nose, and he didn't have to get coffee anymore. He kept driving, and he was awake. It works. It's so crazy. Like, you have to try it. Like, I was so blown away when I tried it. Or he tried it, blah, 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 right? So it's different when you're kind of having a personal story. And another key is, if you are doing the business seriously, you want to make sure that you have the top 10 oils, because if you don't have your personal story, it's really going to be hard to sell. And how many of us have that one or two oils when we started off and had no story about it? Because you're like, and you do kind of like talk about it really fast because you don't know anything about it. Like oregano, that was my oil in the beginning. I was like, I don't know about oregano. Yeah, oregano's great. It's good for immune. That's it. Like, and then I moved on, right? But there's something different when you really use it and you know how it works, that you're able to story sell it better. Okay. Sixth is you want to introduce 2 kits. So there is like 9 enrollment kits that doTERRA offers to start off with. If you talk about 9 of those kits when you're doing a one-on-one on a phone call, it's too overwhelming. Simplify it and choose 2 kits. I personally like to do the Natural Solutions kit and the Home Essentials kit. I feel a bit stronger selling the Natural Solutions kit because I believe in it. But if you're starting out, sometimes we have a mindset block of that's too expensive and I don't want to share that. If it is, then start off with a kit that you enrolled with, because obviously you enrolled with it, so you're going to have good things to say about it. But just 2 kits, 3 if you really want to do 3 kits that you're comfortable selling. And then eventually you'll build up to like the higher kits, because then you're going to have more experience and you're able to share why it's such a good value. You want to introduce an enrollment special. You could totally make your own incentives. I like to use doTERRA's. I think this month they don't have one actually. But what you could do, like today, is the BOGO. Are you ready? What do you think is your next step? With oils, right? And you can let them know. I just want to let you know also, if you get your enrollment kit today, you can add on the BOGOs and you get a free Purify. I love Purify. I put that in my rinse cycle when I have stinky clothes. It smells so good after. Also, you can cleanse it by diffusing. You cleanse the air. I love it. It smells so clean. So something like that, right? So I always use their enrollment specials. The agenda, you don't be afraid to ask for the order. What do you think is your next step, right? Or you could also say, this is the wording that they say. Where is it? Okay, it says right here. Okay, this is one-on-one, sorry. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you this question. Would you like to order your Home Essentials kit today and add on your BOGO so you can get that Purify oil fee today? Something like that, right? You want to ask if they're ready. Before, you might be scared to ask because you want to give them some time to think about it. My first one-on-one phone appointment, I asked, like, I just followed the Skill Up script, which I'm reading off. And I asked her, and she's like, yeah, I'm ready. And I kind of froze because I had asked her which one she preferred, the Home Essentials or the Natural Solution. She wanted the Natural Solutions. So I was like, oh my gosh, that's the biggest kit I've sold so far. Like, this is like a year ago. And so I was like, so nervous to ask her the next question because I knew it was about, like, do you want me to help you get it? And she's like, yeah, I have my computer right now. Can you help me? And I was like, oh my gosh. So think about, like, that's probably what you feel, right? But you're serving them, so ask them, do they need the help? Are they ready? If they are, they might be just super excited to hear about everything you said and they're just ready, versus like, oh, she didn't want to help me get my kit today. Okay, I'll try to figure it out on my own. What kind of service is that, right? And then what's really important is scheduling their membership overview. So if you guys don't know what that is, I will go over that next the next call, and that's super important. This is where you build your pipeline. If you get someone to get their first enrollment kit and then they never order again because they don't see the value of having natural solutions in their home, then you're going to have to enroll the same amount of people more every month. But let's say that person you just enrolled decides to go on LRP and puts on a 200 PV order. That's almost a home essentials kit. That's like a replacement of a home essentials kit you're going to have to do the next month, right? And you're just adding more volume to your organization. So it's so important to be able to know how to do a membership overview very well, because that's what they actually say is your second enrollment. And once you're there and they see the value, nobody's going to do LRP unless they see the value in their membership. And then the last one is asking for introductions and referrals. Those are the ones that decided to buy a kit. Usually, if you remember, somebody when you first bought your kit, you're super excited to get your oils. So you're more excited to actually share oils and be like, oh my gosh, I have like my mom, she would love this. She needs this in her life, you know. I'd love to give her your her information to you, and then I'll let her know that you're gonna call or something like that. That's super important. You don't want to ask it to somebody who's not ready to order, because then they're going to always say no, because then they were skeptical, right? So I feel like it's better when they after they have enrolled already. Okay. I have, oh my gosh, 8 minutes left. Okay, class agenda. So this is super similar to a one-on-one. So you want to do the welcome. I always have like that main page. You want to share a simplified personal story. You want to share your agenda. If you are teaching for someone, you want to make sure that that person introduces you. And that's super important, because they're going to be like, who's this lady? Versus like, if Anuhea was like, hey, Giselle, I want to introduce, I'm going to teach for Anuhea's friends, and she's not a builder. She could say, hey, this is Giselle. She helped me get my oils. This is the reason why I love oils, and I use it on Strider. I invited all you guys because I love using my oils, and she is the one that got me into oils. And so she's teaching a class for us because of that. Something like that, something just so that they kind of have a little history about who this person is going to teach. It's also always helpful when you're teaching a class or hosting a class for someone. But if it's your class, you don't have to introduce the person who's presenting, because that's in your personal story. Same thing, 5, gather information. You kind of want to just kind of like, if you're in person, have them write it down, because at the end of class, you're going to touch base with each one. If it's a group class online, you can have them share. Let's see. 6, introduce the company. 7, teach with product stories based on top 10 oils. 8, introduce with 2 recommended kits. 9, introduce any enrollment specials. Again, use doTERRAs. And then when in person, you can continue with asking for the orders, scheduling a membership overview, asking for introductions, referrals. If it's online, I just kind of stop it there, and then I will check in individually. Like, I'll just text them and say, what did you think of class? That's the first thing. I don't want to ask, okay, which kit do you want to get? That's so, like, that's just, too fast a little. Because they can say, oh, it was a great class, but I'm still kind of confused. And so, which is a great opportunity for you guys to kind of talk through things and make them feel more comfortable about it, right? Okay, any questions with class agenda or the one-on-one agenda? Nope, okay. Let me share my, oh, where'd it go? Sorry, guys. I have so many windows open. I need to start closing windows down. Hold on. There it is. Okay. Sure. Alrighty. Where did I leave off? I know this week we are doing all inviting. You probably have your own class, or you're using me or Ashley's classes. If you need support in your class, just let me, even Ashley, know if I can't help. We'd love to support you if you need that support. Okay, so you don't have to feel like you have to do this by yourself, that you're teaching by yourself. I know if you're in Hawaii, Ashley is really good about like helping out in person. We could always jump in online. Just let us know ahead of time so we can put in our schedule. Anyone teaching an in-person class this month? Anuhea?
More apple juice.
You want more apple juice? Do you have the class in the box? Not to put you on the spot.
Apple juice. More
Okay.
apple juice.
Yeah, you do. Okay. Cool. Okay, I'll go to Brad. Okay. Tara. Okay. She's gone, guys. She want to run off. Okay, so I would say if you're doing in-person classes, it's so, or even in-person one-on-ones, class in the box is huge because they have everything in front of you already. You want apple juice? Sorry guys, just give me 1 minute. Okay, we have 3 minutes. I think we can do it, guys. I didn't really want to go too in detail about like what you do in a class. I wanted to kind of just have you, I just guys wanted, okay. I just wanted you guys to see what the agenda looks like. We could definitely do that in mentor calls if you're like, I'm not really sure how to do this, like product selling, right? We can practice product selling. Maybe if you want to kind of make your personal story even stronger. I think I didn't share that here, but the product story, I feel like I'm like overly prepared, and sometimes when you're overly prepared, you just have too much things in front of your face now. What's happening here? Oh yeah, it's right here. Let me share with you guys. Here's your story, your background, right? I wanted something more and different. How you were introduced to the oils, any concerns and fears that at first held you back from moving towards your desired change, the experience that helped you realize the oils work and why you want to share them now. So that's your personal story. Again, it's about just 1 to 2 minutes. And we can work on that if that's something you feel is going to be really helpful to connect to the people that you invited to. Anything that you guys want me to go over in terms of presenting that you feel like need a little bit more help in? I like this goal. I like this quote that I saw because we're all focusing on our launch goals, right? So ideas are abundant. Execution is everything, right? So we could say, I want to have 3,000 PV on my organization by the end of July, but are we executing, right?
Stop it.
Oh, she has like a, Kyra just pulled out a scab in her face and now it's all bleeding. She got bit by like a bug over the weekend. It's like bleeding. You guys that are, side note, if you guys have tips on that, like she literally has this huge like scab right now and she keeps picking it every day when it gets hard, and she just did it right now without me looking. I don't know when it's gonna ever heal. She's never had anything on her face, and like it's gonna scar. I could see it. It's been like 4 days now. She just keeps picking at it when it gets dry. So, and I put Neosporin, I put frankincense, I put Melaleuca because I don't want to get infected. Sorry, totally off topic, but I just saw it right now. Okay. I mean, I think that's it. I mean, this is not such a long. Let me open my sales guide really quick to share with you. Before, yeah. Oh, you know what? I think our thing's gonna end in 1 minute. So if anyone has, okay. Any? You wanna go down? Okay. Pretty much that was it. That's all I wanted to share with you guys about presenting. Anybody have any last minute thoughts before our room gets booted? No, I'm going to email you guys all the scripts that I shared, the agendas, and then we'll just follow up on our mentor calls. But thanks so much for joining.